for the remainder of this drive up to Seattle. Gonna hook up with a cousin of mine, and we're gonna go do a running event. It's called Cirque Series Crystal Mountain. So we're gonna go do a running event up there. I figured let's go live and see if we can have a conversation on a few different things. I'm gonna obviously, maybe not obviously, but I am a male. I am in my 50s, just 50, and I think I got a lot of things to say, to share. I'm grabbing coffee right here. So when I get on the freeway, though, what I'm going to be doing is just driving and talking, pretty much the same way I would talk as if I were just on my own. But I do want to kind of touch base on a couple of, not a couple, but just some the goings on and the happenings of just a regular old guy trying to make his mark on the world in a small way, but not only do that, also have some experiences for myself. So yeah, that's what we're doing. My mom used to have a nickname for me, and I'm not really sure how she got. I'm not really sure where it came from, and I never asked her, but it's a name that I've always responded to. And the name was New, like N-E-W. And I don't think I've ever heard, maybe because I was the youngest of the family, so maybe the newest of the family, but never really asked her. She passed away back in 2009, and so I still sometimes think about the nickname. My dad, on the other hand, I'm a 50-year-old guy, but my dad, on the other hand, he calls me, he doesn't call me, but the way he refers to me is as his baby. So yeah, my mom calls me New, or she did call me New when she was still living, and my dad still refers to me as his baby, and he says because I'm the baby of the bunch, and technically speaking, I'll always be the baby. I think life is pretty crazy. Life is pretty crazy, and I was doing some research about the average lifespan of a male, and that's average lifespan of a male is approximately mid 70s. So let's say 75 is the number as the average lifespan of a male. So your averages, you take a bunch of numbers, you add them together, divide them by the total, and you get that number, right? So you take a bunch of numbers, you add them together, and you get a total, which would be your average. So if the average lifespan of a male is in the mid 70s, that means some people are going to live to their upper 90s, and others are going to pass away before that. Well, if that is the average lifespan of, let's say, 75, then midlife is in your 30s for a guy. That's crazy. So midlife, so technically speaking, your midlife crisis should happen in your 30s, but reality is it doesn't necessarily happen until you're kind of in my range, in your late 40s or 50s, and and that's more so referred to as the negative thing, right? Hey, he's having a midlife crisis. The guy goes, he buys a motorcycle, takes up all sorts of hobbies. He starts doing new things, maybe like in my circumstance, started flying a plane and riding a motorcycle. So those are two new hobbies that have been introduced into my life over the last motorcycle about a year, and then flying, still a student pilot, but been working on that intermittently for the last 2.5 years. Flying small planes. Is it a midlife crisis? No, I think what happens is it's a fourth quarter, third quarter of your life. It's the end of the third quarter, and new opportunities have opened up for you. So I think that's what it is. New opportunities have opened up, and that's the way I feel about it. New opportunities have opened up for me. I have a little more time on my hands. Money's freed up some, And so I get to do a couple of things. But I'll tell you one thing that has changed, and it's the value that I put on my time. That has changed tremendously in the sense that I now value how I use my time exponentially worth more than even in the last 10 years. My time is worth more. Hey Leo, and hey Sam, if I see you there. I think that might be how you pronounce your name. But yeah, hey, welcome to the conversation. Talking about midlife crisis, the value of time, because I think at currently my age, early 50, 75 being the average age or the average life expectancy of a male, then your your feeling of time compression, right? So let's just use a bell curve for example. Drop my money here. Let's just use a bell curve, right? So at this point, I'm on the back side of the bell curve, and basically what that means is it's easier to come down on the back side than it is to climb up. And if you've crossed over the apex, the curve, if you've crossed over the apex, just don't buy a Harley. Already done. I got the Harley a year ago, and the reason why, and I'll come back to this, the reason why I got the Harley is I wasn't necessarily looking for one, and nobody in my family rides motorcycles. I was drinking beers in my garage. A friend of mine was selling it, and I said, hey, I'm going to buy the bike. So that's what happened on that. Sit tight for a second. I don't want to waste your time, but sit tight because I got to order my coffee and then get on the road. And at least now I can kind of chit chat with you.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What can you start for you?
16-ounce mocha, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Hot, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. 16-ounce mocha for the road. Make the drive a little more. Yeah. Thank you for the me handle. Thank you for the encouragement to be careful. That is the plan. Stay careful.
How's your day going?
It's going good. Headed up to Seattle.
Oh, for fun or?
Yeah, picking my cousin up at SeaTac tonight, and then we're gonna go do some running event in Crystal Mountain.
Oh, so lots of fun.
Oh yeah. It'll be fun and it'll be work for sure.
How long is the course?
So Crystal Mountain, I guess it's a ski resort. So 3.2 miles to the top, and then 4 coming back down around the backside. So it's really the climb is that'll be the
Like,
yeah, that would definitely be the struggle, the killer part. How's your day going?
you've been training for it then?
Ish?
No, just going for it.
Just going for it. Just see how bad I could, be brutal to my body. I mean, they allow you an hour and a half, hour and a half to get up to the top. So hour and a half to cover 3 miles. Yeah, so
5:35 for you.
let's see here. 550. Let's tip the barista. Oh yeah, hey, midlife. Yeah, for me, I've done the Harley thing years ago. There you go. I gotta come to that Harley thing here. Keep the change. Yeah, I gotta come to that Harley thing. I've done the Harley thing years ago. 51 single family, and I think at our age we finally figure out who. Oh, that definitely who we are as our own people, right? That. Can I, Justin? Yeah. So, anyways, we handle who we are as our own people, not an identity or a label.
For you?
Yes, seeds. Thank you much.
Have a good day.
You too. All right, so back on the road, back with you guys. Yes, me handle. We figure out. I, is it we figure out who we are, or do we figure out that we are just a regular old person moving in moving in temporary time and space on a galactic rock, right? That's all. That's all probably a bunch of ethereal stuff. Um, but yeah, so bought the Harley, bought the motorcycle Harley. It's a 2014 Honda, Harley Breakout, and then I've taken up flight instructions for small planes. But kind of getting back to my point of a midlife for a male whose average life expectancy is 75, puts your midlife in your 30s, but as you get a little more age, and when kids leave the house, or you have some midlife, or you have some big life changes, it opens up some new opportunities. And for me, I saw some opportunities. The motorcycle, that was an opportunity, but flying the plane, that was an opportunity presented about 7 years ago from another couple that they fly. So I just took it up. I thought, heck, I'll go ahead and do it because they said I could do it and they encouraged me, so that's what I've been doing. So my intentions are to catalog and record parts of my life that, generally speaking, my family and my friends wouldn't see, but I could have something memorialized that maybe a few years down the road that they could actually see. Married, divorced, remarried, kids on both sides. We don't have mine, hers, and ours for my current wife. She has some kids in the house, and all of my kids, they're all older, so they're out of the house currently. And those are some conversational topics that I'll touch on at some point in the future, because in some regards, it's very enjoyable and challenging in lots of ways. And for those of you that have been there, you understand what I'm talking about, and you understand what I'm saying. So, 50-year-old male. I am in professional sales for it's a niche industry. We provide services to large manufacturing, industrial, and power plants. It's a cool thing, and I'll go into like work-life career type stuff at some other point. I was doing some research on a phrase that I heard, and it was referencing the idea that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at some particular discipline. So it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in some discipline. That was popularized by a person, Malcolm Gladwell, back in 2008. I think it's called Success or Business or the Story of Success, something along those lines. And Malcolm Gladwell, referenced some modern time, well-known professional folks that most anybody would know. For example, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Malcolm Gladwell's work was based off of the actual research by psychologist K. Anders Ericsson. Now, Ericsson did some in-depth study of a number of experts in multiple disciplines. So your arts, your medical, your sciences, kind of in these in that type of pursuit. And his work ultimately led him into intentional effort progressively getting better in any one particular field requires 10,000 hours. So then, what do you do when you're an older male? We'll take me. We'll just use me. I'm 50. What do you do when you're an older male at 50 and you're not sure if you're an expert in anything? Like an expert. Yeah. What do you do when you're not sure if you're an expert at your particular chosen craft, whatever that might craft or vacation, vocation, or art, or anything that requires dedicated effort in an intentional manner? What do you do when you hit this point in life where most people would say it's a midlife crisis and you go out and buy the Harley, you do take on all these hobbies, but you still have the sense that you're not an expert. So when I started looking at the 10,000 hour rule, and then I overlaid that onto my life and said, hey, if you do 1 hour a day, intentional focused effort in one particular subject, how long would it take you to become an expert? Well, at 1 hour a day, 10,000 hours, that's going to take you 27 years doing 1 hour a day, progressively working on your competence in that field. So get this. So if that's what it is, 1 hour a day, 27 years to achieve the 10,000 hour rule before you become an expert, being on the backside of the age curve or the bell curve, right? So if you think of a bell and you think you're on the backside of that, well, now it's going down and it curves out. Well, that backside where you're in the where you're on the descent, the downstroke, we'll call it. You're on the backside of the curve, it's going down. The sense of time compression is a real deal because I certainly feel it, and I don't feel it in terms of a hurry up manner. I feel it more so in the sense of how do I use my time more efficiently and effectively in the things that I enjoy, because now I'm in a stage of life that I get to basically do some things that are of interest to me. Uh, well, so I think two things related to the time: 27 years, 10,000 hours, 1 hour a day. So 1 hour of focused effort a day is going to take 27 years to hit the 10,000 hour rule. But because you're on the backside of the bell curve and there is a bit of a decline there, there's a decline in energy, right? Decline in energy. There's a decline uh, in in some natural physical abilities, whether that's agility or strength. There's definitely a decline in testosterone for men, but these are things you can take care of later. But these are kind of the natural course of events. Well, if you look at it that way, then you could, depending on your mindset and your mind frame, you could feel like, oh crap, what the use, what the heck? I mean, what's the use of even trying to do anything at this point in the game? I would encourage and just say, well, the use is to put uh, vibrancy back up here. That's what I would say, because that's what I am picking up, and that's part of that's riding the motorcycle, and part of that's learning to fly a plane. It's really connected my mind in a way of it's connected my mind in a way of single focus awareness and being alert to one particular topic. Even though, so for example, you're riding the motorcycle down the freeway. I'm driving down the freeway now. So you're riding the motorcycle down the freeway while your eyes are visually engaged, seeing things. Your tactile senses, you're feeling the road and you're feeling the handlebars and the vibrations, but your alertness is such that if I'm looking out ahead in front of cars, okay, so that's an alertness thing, but that's around motorcycles. If I'm maneuvering lanes, in between lanes, or into a different lane, or so I can see out in front of the car in front of me, well, that's a single focus for riding the motorcycle. So I have found so riding a motorcycle is dangerous. Motorcyclists have a 27% greater chance of severe injury from a wreck than a person in a car. And most of us that ride, we understand the risk. But I think the thing that riding the motorcycle does do for any individual is it focuses your attention on what you're currently engaged in, not necessarily 8 or 9 or 10 other things. I mean, that's been my experience, and I'm sure that's part of other people's experience as well. Flying the airplane is the same thing. Everything you do about flying the airplane is about flying the airplane. My instructor sits next to me, and we have some conversations. But even those conversations are training conversations regarding being in the plane. So, could I get to 10,000 hours flying an airplane? Literally, probably not in my lifetime. I'd have to fly a minimum of 1 hour per day, and I just don't have it's expensive to fly a plane, so. But I can get to a competence level so I can enjoy some short trips and short flights. Let's see. Spend hours of time working. Okay. Me handle things. I see you're engaged. It's a little bit harder for me to read it, but I'll come back to it once I get to my hotel this evening. But I appreciate you engaging and checking in. So 10,000 hours, 1 hour a day is going to be 27 years. At my age, that's going to take me past the average lifespan of a man. So then from that perspective, what I've had to kind of think through is that's only if I were starting over. That's if I were starting at zero, right? That's if I were starting at zero in any particular field. I'm not starting at, I did, obviously I started at zero on the motorcycle, started at zero flying the plane, but in other things, conversationally, I'm not starting at zero. Relationships, I'm not starting at zero, I'm starting, I am progressing through successes and failures with relationships. I am progressing through wins and losses for careers. I'm progressing through a whole host of just a whole bunch of things. So, being that I'm not at zero, I'm at some marker between 0 and 10,000 hours for a whole host of things and for different pursuits. Most of the things that I do, though, are related to currently, so family, work, flying, so aviation, or motorcycle, or kind of a health and fitness thing. I'm progressing through those things. You know, so am I meandering through the world as it is today? The answer is no. Today I probably have way more clarity as to where I'm going and what I'm up to and what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with. So I have way more clarity. Early in my 20s and into my 30s, I was probably meandering in a lot of areas, not really taking advantage of not really taking advantage of time and devoting effort into subjects that would propel me a lot further than where I'm at today. So, for example, I've had a guitar since I was 18, and instead of learning guitar, learning the notes, right, learning the staff, learning all of the learning not necessarily just musical notes on the fretboard, right, on the neck of the guitar fretboard. 1 hour a day on that thing, and progressive exercises to get better at some key functions. I could have been maybe not a professional, but a hell of a lot better guitar player than I am today, which is pretty much I can strum a few songs and I can play a few power chords, that's kind of fun. And occasionally I'll sing along with occasionally I'll sing and play at the same time, but it's nothing spectacular. So my particular goal with this channel is to have simple conversations with others about bits and pieces of my life that may resemble some of the things in your life, and also to maybe poke your interest into your own lives, that you would go out and do something fun and interesting. Whatever it is. Hey, fly a plane, get a motorcycles. More people probably would express fear and trepidation to you riding a motorcycle than to you flying an airplane. Here's what happened. This is the truth. Tell someone you're going out riding a motorcycle, and if they don't like motorcycles or they're opposed to motorcycles, and even some bikers really, oh man, you shouldn't ride, because I know a person, they was riding a motorcycle and they got killed. But no one ever says that when you're driving a car. I know a person who was driving a car, they got in a wreck and got killed. So people will say that about a motorcycle, and and I'm not downplaying that, it happens. But people won't say that if you fly a plane. If you learn how to fly a small plane, what people will say, oh man, that's cool, I could never do that. And the only reason why I'm flying today, like today as in the time frame era, is because a couple that I met, the guy, he said, hey, you should learn how to fly a plane because anybody can fly. And I thought, well, man, that is okay. And it took me a few years after that to get started in the club, but I fly. And if you look back at some of my other videos, just click my name, you'll see me in some training flights and then some solo flights flying a plane. So what am I going to do? That's a little Brady Bunch. I had a little squeak going. So then, what am I going to do with any of the pursuits that I'm engaged with? What am I going to do with any of the pursuits that I'm engaged with? Short answer to that is I'm just going to enjoy them. I'm just going to enjoy the process of engaging with the pursuit. I'm enjoying being on the motorcycle and going for rides. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying learning how to fly the plane. And something interesting about flying a plane for me is there is lots of book study. There's a ton of book studies flying a plane. You know, you have to go to your like for your driver's license, you get a pamphlet, small pamphlet, and it's how 30 to 50 pages. Well, flying a plane is a whole bunch more pages, and we're talking. Uh, Let me see. The one book that I have, it's probably 200 pages, the size of 8 by 11 ish, and it's chock full of information. And then there's the actual airman certification standards. That's more like a novel, 500 pages, small print, small font, but it covers a whole host of standards for all sorts of airplanes, private pilot, commercial, experimental, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is enjoying the things that I'm engaged with while being diligent about learning about those things. So for example, the motorcycle, when I first bought it, I understood of what to do, because there's a little bit of like driving a 5-speed. You have your clutch and your accelerator, and then you have the gear shift. Well, a motorcycle offers some of that same functionality, but how do you do that? So I've had to learn how to do that on the motorcycle, and then I've had to learn how to make a U-turn, turning both directions, how to apply braking while riding the motorcycle, because you have a front brake and a rear brake. Similar to a bicycle, you have front and rear brake. But in the motorcycle, 70% of your braking power, your stopping power, comes from your front brake. But with that being said, if your bike does not have ABS, you could launch yourself over the handlebars, or you grab right throttle or right grip, right lever, too much brake at one time. That could lock up your front tire, and if you're anywhere like where there might be some slippage on the road, whether that's dirt, sand, some rocks, or water, your front tire could slide out because you gripped the front brake too hard. That's no bueno. So in my time time riding the bike or flying a plane, I've done some mental work beforehand. Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I working on? And I've also just go on the long rides, because mentally I want to know I'm connected to my particular bike, and if I do something on my bike, I want to know how my bike performs. Look, you can get a motorcycle and go as fast as you want for as much gas as you have in your tank. Most people are able to do that, and even still, then that presents some, there's risk in doing that. But knowing how to swerve to miss an obstruction in the road, or to apply brakes, or how to apply brakes, or do you apply brakes in the turn, or how do you do that? Front brake, rear brake, both, or just rear brake? So Malcolm Gladwell popularized the theme of 10,000 hours to become an expert in any one particular field. His is a derived word from Dr. K. Anders Ericsson, psychologist who studied experts and masters in their particular craft. So there we go. And that's kind of what this conversation is about. 10,000 hours, starting today at 1 hour per day is going to take you 27 years. But if you're on the backside of the bell curve and the average life expectancy of a male being 75, you don't necessarily have 27 years to apply principles to become an expert in that one field. Because at some point, maybe your physical strength just goes away anymore, or you get injured, or something along those lines. And to take all learning as feedback, a feedback loop. In my new role, I'm in sales, but in my new role, my learning curve is really steep because it's a completely new industry. So I'm giving myself grace and opportunity to learn what I don't know, to recognize that I don't know it, to ask lots of questions, and to not make assumptions. And man, I'm really finding it enjoyable, and hopefully this current career that I have, hopefully it takes me into retirement, right? Hopefully it takes me there, but who knows what could happen. But yeah, I'm really hoping it takes me into retirement. I've been working since I was 17 or 18, so not that I'm tired of working, but I like what I'm doing. And while I'm working currently, I'm learning other things. Who knows? Maybe in the next 5 years I can gain enough flight experience to go commercial airliner, which that could be really cool too. Different conversation, different topic, learning more about that. So I'm using my current career to fund to help pay for my flight lessons, motorcycle stuff, obviously house stuff, bills, that kind of thing. But I'm using it now. I'm using my career to fund some future endeavors. I'm not trying to be a content creator though. I know this is content, and I record flights, and I have a channel, and I have stuff up there. But my goal wasn't necessarily to create this thing. Because if you go on my About Me page on YouTube, which is because I just looked it up. If you go there and you scroll down, you'll see that I set the page up in 2014. I set the channel up in 2014, just under my name, Chad Curligan, in 2014. And I didn't do anything with it. I didn't even make videos or anything. Because I was a little, I don't think I was scared to do it because I made some YouTube, I made some videos to post at my old work years ago. And they're still there. But yeah, 2014 is when I set up this particular YouTube channel. I don't have a goal, the creator goal. It's just more of a place to catalog and store what I'm up to, how I'm doing some things, how I practice on the motorcycle, how I ride the bike, how I practice riding the motorcycle or fly the plane. So really just use that cataloging. Well, I'll be on here for at least another hour, I guess, until we get to the hotel. I'm not starting from zero. I'm starting from experience in multiple things. And now, I've got a couple of things that I'm pretty focused in on. And just want to have a conversation with whoever tuned in, whoever either pop in on live or watch it later. Just having a conversation while I'm driving. Oh, hey, did you know? Okay, oh, okay. So did you know, or do you know what the Hawthorne effect is? The Hawthorne effect. I think that's what it's called. The Hawthorne effect is you behave differently when you know you're being watched. That can go like that's similar to the when the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, when the cat's around, the mice are hiding. They're not playing anymore. That's the Hawthorne effect. Also, with the Hawthorne effect is the idea. So like this is the idea that your frequency of doing a thing, like this, your frequency of doing a thing increases because somehow having a camera makes you want to be back on the camera, makes you want to do it more. I'm not holding the camera. It's just over there. I'm kind of cruising, slowing down in south of Seattle traffic. Me and my cousin we're gonna go do a Cirque Series running event tomorrow morning, and then we're gonna hang out for the day and hang out for the night and grab dinner and just hang out. This would be our third event together. Honestly, I'll probably suck balls at this one because it's it's hard. You ascend, go up on this one about 3.2 miles. And the last one I attempted, I could not get to the top in time because I two things. I drank too much the night before, and I didn't have enough energy to climb that mountain. But we won't do that tonight. We won't have a repeat tonight. Hawthorne effect. That's you behave differently when you're on camera. You behave differently when the boss is in town. You behave differently driving when you see a police officer. Maybe that's a stretch. I haven't really dug into it that deep, but the theme of it seems like it could be accurate. Did you ever when there were TV shows that came on once a week during a half-hour time slot, but there were some commercials, so the actual the TV program was probably more like 22 or 23 minutes. Did you ever have a favorite show? And did you ever uh, have a favorite character in the show? I think most of us have developed a favorite character, an affinity for a character, and if somehow that character was removed or got hurt, it kind of changed the whole dynamic of the show because your character was gone. Like you develop some affinities, right? And you develop a liking for the character and a familiarity for that character. But when they're gone, and you lose that. I think that's kind of the same way with, uh, possibly people you can see online. You develop, if they're posting a lot, you develop a likeness for them. Um, yeah, and I think it's human nature is we could develop a liking for a person that we don't even know personally, but their persona in the world, in whatever world that might be, whether that's a digital world or out in the real world, or the idea of what they're presenting sits with us. Anyways, just things I'm kind of thinking through while I'm driving for the next 45 minutes. I started. Um, I don't watch TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, and even on YouTube, it's generally around specific subjects that I like. So, aviation number one, motorcycles number two, um, chicken coops and chickens because I just got some chickens 5 or 6 months ago that were raising, and they're producing little bitty eggs. So, what's the goal for me to go live? In general, my goal for going live is to get um, my goal for going live is to become more relaxed and verbally speak out just things that I'm thinking through. So that's my goal, and that's the goal. And since I will be spending a lot of time driving, not just driving here, but just work, I have to drive to different job sites, and it's usually an hour or two each way, so it's just a bit of time. So I can either listen to the radio, or I can just pop on and say hello and have a conversation. So that's what this is, and that's what I'm doing. Thanks for joining. Let's see, I'm not sure how to stop the live, actually. Maybe it's that up there.